We have somebody confused. Which part of bold, fat, and ugly didn't you get? That's all you're getting. I said that. I got some almonds I got on the way up here that you want them. Guys, this is a different session, okay? I'm not kidding. And I'm serious. I'm not kidding. This is not a product session. Don't be mad at the end because you're like, well, he didn't show that much product. No, this is not a product session. Is it useful for you? I bet my right hand it is, okay? But you have to understand that every now and then, not getting a demo is a good thing. Is that okay? Can we get past that one? Because I know I'm going to get somebody on the eval, he didn't do a demo. I know. There is no I can grab somebody from the audience. There's a couple of horrible people I know. They can be the demo if you want, okay? But outside of that, this is a strategy session. I like to roam. Do you want me to stay up there? Do you mind if I roam? Roam? Thank you. Thank you. So, I've been doing this session for quite a while, and the reason is because I see people getting value of it. I'm not kidding. This is probably the 7th year I've done this type of session, whether it be in Tech Ed, in MMS, and in 3 other conferences. And again, I got an email, not kidding you, I got an email yesterday from a company, a large telecommunications company in Europe, showing me a slide that's based on this deck. There's nothing better than that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not announcing anything, I'm just saying you get proud of it. You say, okay, so it's useful. So that's why I'm back here, okay? Because trust me, I've seen this is the 7th version, I've seen this. So I get it, but I want to tell you that I think that you should look at it with very skeptic eyes. And you should also understand that what I'm trying to pitch to you is how to go about this problem differently. Not the same way that you've always done it. And again, I'm very sorry to tell you that there's not going to be a demo. With that said, let's start. So, we will talk about market trends slightly because the market trends already ran us over. Okay, I can keep giving you statistics. You're holding it in your hands. I mean, look around and look at the devices you're holding. And if you think I'm talking about an iPad, I'm talking about your phones. Okay? So if you think that there's too many more statistics that you need, you're wrong. You got it in your hands. You know the statistics. And I'll show them to you. We're going to go over little proven strategies that have really worked over the past probably 5 years. And the next one is, we're going to talk about what I've seen as tools that will help you build a straight strategy that you can just go and implement. Okay? Can you do this just with Microsoft products? Hell no. You can do this with your current environment. Plus, I'm sure if you're using Windows, Microsoft products will definitely help you. But this is, to a great degree, agnostic. Okay? Is that fair? Did you see what I'm not going to give you so you don't get mad at me at the end? I know. Thank you. Okay. Good with that. You can use this deck. Use it, abuse it, keep it, steal it, do whatever you want with it. Okay? That's my point. Only 4 points in this. Consumerization, strategy, a real good example, and a summary. That's all we're going to do. Let's keep it simple. You always need a place to start with a problem. The problem is very, 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 very simple. If you're reading this, by now you feel as sick in the stomach as I do. Consumerization, how do I say this politely? Thank you. He said it. It's not a good thing. Hurts like hell. Okay? You didn't hear me say sucks. Okay? And it does, because look, if you're on the IT side, my user bringing too much crap I gotta manage. And if I'm on the user side, my user, I want to bring whatever I want, and IT is crazy because they don't let me, right? So any way you look at it, there's insatisfaction on both sides. So it's not about the words in the slide, it's about the face. People are not satisfied with this one. And it's not something that's going well for us. Let's just be honest about it, okay? Let's stop pretending we're doing a good job about this one. We're not. The user's not happy and we're not happy. Okay? Second thing, and my sources are here and you can go at them, okay? There's a really good study that Morgan Stanley did. Why am I not showing you Gartner? Because Morgan Stanley has to show analysts where to invest. So they do a whole bunch. And so every now and then you find one of these firms that do research of 20 sides of the equation, and they become really interesting. So I learned a couple of things from these 3 sources here. The first one is, we went from a location to a screen, and from a screen to an activity. Let me explain this, because I know you're going to say yes in a second. You're working right now, and in 5 minutes from now, you're going to be taking a personal call, and you're not working anymore. 20 minutes later, you're going to be doing something in Excel, and then 50 minutes later in a console, and then 20 minutes later, you're going to be talking to your grandmother. Who knows? I mean, and then you're going to talk to your child, and then you're going to Facebook for a minute. And my point is, there's no division anymore about work. Work is an activity, because you say, no, I'm not working. You guys haven't worked here all week? Really? I don't believe that. You've at least spent, in this week, tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I'm dead serious. Participate with me. At least done 7 hours of straight work, right or wrong? So how the hell did you get away from the office? You're not away from the office. You're just not at the office, because the office is not a location anymore. Is that fair? Therefore, you have to stop thinking that the service that you're giving to your users is a location, because it's not. And you got to stop thinking that it's a screen, because it's not. Is that fair? Now, we all think we're at work. We're not. We're consumers and we're at work. We're everything. And it didn't happen slightly. Who remembers, I mean, some of you have less hair than I do. I don't think, there's very few of you, but who remembers the Palm 5X? Palm 5X? Oh, come on. Thank you, yes. I wouldn't believe it, just 2 guys raised their hand. Oh, we're not going to let them sync their Palm Pilots, whatever you want to call them, into the corporate network. They did anyways. Oh, we're not going to think that those are relevant. Everybody was carrying one. Oh, why the hell would you synchronize it with your corporate environment? Everybody was synchronizing it. And then all of a sudden it was the phone, and now it's a tablet, a phone, a PC, and we're still complaining. And this, what date was I talking about? 2000. So it's 12 years ago. You may say, oh my God, that's a long time ago. It may not be for some of us. I'm getting old, I know. But what am I trying to tell you? It didn't happen overnight. And it's not like we didn't see this coming. Now, there's something interesting about this. Let me start freaking you out. How many billion people are in the world today? Anybody? 6, 7 billion. Nobody knows because, between India, China, and Facebook, somebody's having more babies. Right? I think it's Facebook. I only do these dumb jokes to entertain you. If you don't like them, laugh at the one you like. You don't have to laugh at all of them. So 2 billion mobile internet devices in the world today. That's pretty freaky. Out of 6 billion, 7, a third has an internet mobile device. That's a big number. Hold on, I'm getting there. 2/3 of the companies worldwide have already accepted a tablet as a viable device in the corporate environment. And if you're thinking iPad, yes. In some economies it's Android. So, relax. In some big economies, not just small. And I'm hoping Windows 8 does something. Hell, my children and me get fed from Microsoft. My wife, we're hoping Windows 8 does something, right? So what's interesting about this? Well, only 20% of tablet owners use the device to create content. That's not too far away from what I would have thought. Do you agree with this, or do you think it's too off? So in other words, people use a tablet to consume more than to create. Is that fair? Why? Because I can't just grab my tablet and plug it into a docking station and get dual monitors with a keyboard and look at a huge Excel spreadsheet, or a huge PowerPoint, or a huge console, or you see my point? Or tap open 3 applications. I mean, I drive to work for one reason. I drive to work because I love my dual monitors, and I can't carry those around with a tablet. Every now and then you need 2 screens, don't you? Every now and then. It's a cool thing. And so what's interesting about this? Well, 371 million computers got sold in 2011. You can't measure how many are out there, but you can measure how many were sold. So, okay, almost 400 million. And if this was not a kick in the shins, you know, right here, for those of you who are international like me, I'm from Mexico, by the way. It's a big one. How many billion people are in the world again? And how many billion phones are active in the world today? Because this ones we can measure. That are out. How many? Everybody. Let me explain this, okay? Did I say I come from Mexico? There's people that don't have what to eat and they have a TV and a cell phone. And I'm not kidding. It's true. It's a sad reality. I'm not kidding again by saying this. I'm not trying to entertain you. Get off of the cloud. In Africa, people communicate via SMS for talking about the droughts and the movement. I mean, this is a reality. People have one device who's the first-class citizen and the most important in every corporate environment, down to every social aspect, and get off of your cloud. It's not a PC. And it's not a tablet. It's a cell phone. Okay? So cell phones are number one in your list, if you ask me. Number two are computers. Why? Because if you look at the numbers, let's do some division, right? Let's go back to, I'm trying to do divisions with my kid in 4th grade. I'm failing massively. But let's do a little bit of this. 16 phones per PC, 21 billion tablets, 21 million tablets, therefore 17 PCs per tablet and 285 phones per tablet. In other words, people have first a phone, then a computer, and then a tablet. If you ask me very humbly, what should be your strategy of focus is what? Phone, and then tablet. Oh wait, but the executive whatever, right? CEO, XXO, CFO of the company wants his iPad supported. Support it. It doesn't mean you're going to support it for everybody. You see my point? There is focus and volume. Next. It just happened. This train ran us over. Excuse me, no more statistics for you, because you don't need it. That's it. It's done. I just told you there's more phones than anything else. So if that's your number one consumption device today, you can't get away from it. You see my point? And you shouldn't. Okay, let's get over this one and let's go into what happens. Again, this is not an analogy and I'm not being disrespectful. I love my mother. My mother is 71 years old. She's written, I'm not kidding you, and it's not a random number. She has written and published 75 books on 20th century Mexican art. Okay? She's an encyclopedia by herself. Up until 5 years ago, she would ask any of her available sons or daughters in the near vicinity to print her emails. And we would have to go and sit down and painstakingly print her emails. And then we'd have to wait for her to write down her replies on paper, because then she would ask you to, and this is where everybody ran away, sit down on the freaking computer and write her replies. This is 5 years ago. What do you think she's doing right now? She's Skyping with me and with my children. She's instant messaging with the Museum of Modern Art in New York. I'm not kidding you. She's worried about her digital right property. Okay? She's learning how to protect and what IP international and laws are working around. And this is the same woman 5 years later. So what happened? People are getting a lot more sophisticated, more than you want to recognize. So the monkey user that we used to have does not exist anymore. Quit. This guy is sophisticated. This guy has cool hardware, has cool software, and he's learning how to use it. And it doesn't matter what his age group is or what he does. And you may think you still have a whole bunch of guys who want to print their... It's going to happen less and less and less. We're all being forced into this, whether we like it or not. Even a person who survived with a typewriter for 60-something years of her life. So it's fascinating. With that said, people are getting more complex, technical capable, self-supported, cost-aware, and therefore they expect everything from you. Because here goes. Let me see if I get you on this one. If I get 7x24 from Dell, or I get 7x24 from Skype, why the hell am I not getting it from random guy, you? Now you got the point? If I get 7x24 from X, why not you? So they're not going to let you get away with this. because they're getting it from the rest of the market. Is this fair so far? Am I speaking somewhat to your truth? So with this said, what's happening? We used to speak about work-life and work-life division or work-life balance. That's it. It's over. We forgot something. It's just life. Work is an activity, part of it, but that's all it is. So, enough philosophy. Let's go back to being IT guys. We used to focus on this. Who wants to disagree with me? Was this our focus, yes or no? And by doing this, we said, well, you could have followed the Microsoft optimization model, which I'm one of the fathers and I'm super proud of, or you couldn't have. Most of you didn't have. Shame on you, horrible people. But with all that said, we found out that people who are in basic cost more money than people who are in rationalized. Is that fair? Let me spell it out simple. If you did less things to your environment, you cost more money. If you were more automated and better managed, you cost less money. Is that fair? Okay, good. So all good here, all good here. Guys, don't just stand at the door. Please join us. It's a pleasure. Participate. So with that said, we looked at standard everything. The focus was on what? How many end devices can I manage cheaper, right? Okay, okay. What's the problem? Did we ever care how agile this person was? We didn't even care about the person. He was a device. He never turned to be a person for me. He was a device. So therefore, if the guy said, wait, but if you give me an iPad, an iPod, an Android, a Windows phone, God forbid, or whatever else, I'm going to be able to do a sale on the spot. Or I'm going to be able to quote on the spot. And therefore, I'm going to make more money for this company, and we're not going to be in dire straits, and you're not going to lose your job in 5 years, God forbid. No, we don't care about that. We care that you're a device. And I'm being sarcastic. I know it's on purpose, but I'm also trying to tell you, we didn't care if the guy could sell triple, and that would benefit us too, right? We just care that the device was well managed, and it was cheap. Fair? What happens if we, God forbid, think the other way completely? Well, there were a couple people who said, let's stop thinking about a device. I hope this is very interesting for you. I'm serious. Let's stop thinking about a device and let's start thinking about services. Because if I don't care about the device, I have to care about the services provided from a central location so that any device can consume from them. Is that fair? Would this be a good set of devices for you? Take a look at them. Would this be a fair list? I didn't say a complete list. I didn't say the best list. I said, would this be fair? Why not, right? This could be a good example of services we could provide centrally. Now, if we also know how to run a data center well, which most of us know and some of us don't, it's also about standardization, right? Of practices, of operations, and the more and better we do, the more efficient we are. In other words, more servers we can manage per full-time equivalent or per employee, whatever. All this becomes beautiful. The focus is on the service, but now we say something different. And I've presented this to a ton of CIOs, and it works, trust me. You say this, how about we stop the insanity? How about you stop saying we're going to reduce this forever, because guess what? By the time you're done, it's zero. And zero means no service, honey. It doesn't mean good service. Okay, you missed the point. Zero means you get nothing. So if we keep trending down to zero, it means nothing. How about we say this is the minimum it costs to get the quality services that you want? Not, I'm not going to say the name of the airline, but not minimum services. Now you got the idea. There's some airlines that you fly, you're like, this is minimum. I'm okay with this. Don't give me coffee, but you know, I'm fine. And there's some airlines you get on and you're like, come on, man, really? You wouldn't even give me water? So you see the point. There's a minimum set, right? So I'm trying to give you that analogy so that you understand that if this is the minimum set that I'm willing to receive, then what's the cost of that? And let's cap it there. Let's leave it there. You cannot go above that. But my focus is going to be now on providing the best services so that you are more agile. It's a completely different approach. Let's go into this for a second. Now, looking at the strategy. Usually we ask that question. Is that fair? This is the question that we usually asked. I completely disagree because I would have liked it to be this. Agreed? So forget desktop. Who cares about the desktop anymore? I want the environment to be the best possible. Okay. If you want the whole presentation in one slide, this is it. You're going to get a couple slides that are really good. This, I think, is, when I can't present anything, I use this in a chalkboard, and that's all I use. You have to define the following. Stay with me. You have to define the who. Now, when I say who, I'm not talking about a profile. I'm not talking about a session. I'm not talking about a user. I'm not talking about group policy. I'm not talking about a configuration or a template. I'm talking about everything I just said at once. Okay? All that thing would be the who. Who is going to access what? And yes, God forbid you do for once a service catalog. Hell, that's hard as hell to do. Start. At least you'll get somewhere, and we start from there. Let's say, oh, but I only cataloged a third of my applications. Well, that's better than not having anything. Look, Rome wasn't built in a day, but if you never start, you're never going to build it. Okay? So if it takes 3 years, take 3 years and do it. You see my point? I mean, in IT, we've forgotten the multi-year project. Everybody else understands it. Try to build a building in one, you know. Try to get concrete to get, you see my point. There's things that doesn't happen faster. So start and build this, because once you have the application catalog, you're going to be able to say, this profile, this session, this user, bless you, is going to be able to access this set of services from this location. What's the where? And this is where we all get confused. The where for us is a device. And you say, I wish you said a laptop, but you say my iPhone, or you say my Android. Good for you, but I'll tell you something. That's not a location. That's only half or a third of what a location means. Location means device, connectivity type, and location. Because would you want, and I'm not joking at all, would you want the CFO, think about this one very hard, of your publicly traded company to be able to alter financial statements on his unencrypted iPad in Puerto Vallarta? I'll tell you why not. Because it could be not him doing it, okay? And because you would not be Sarbanes-Oxley compliant, and therefore you would be pulled out of NASDAQ and or Dow Jones. Is that fair? So I'm sorry, I don't care what he wants. You cannot give him that. Is that fair? Now you see my point? Location is not a device. It's which device from where? Internet, intranet, protected, VPN, non-VPN, direct access, IPv6, whatever you want. And also physical location. You got to know from where. In some instances. There's other roles that I don't care. They can be in the middle of the revolution and doing something, and you're fine with that. You say, I don't care. That's fine. That's the role. A project manager of an engineering company can be in the middle of the jungle doing things on his core business expense management application, and that's fine. That's what he's supposed to do, right? Of course, yeah. Connection type, yes, absolutely. I would add connection type to that. Okay, that's a simplistic slide. It's on purpose, okay? I like to keep things like this because, again, if I give you too much prescription, you go too specific. I don't want you to go too specific. I want you for once to go a little broader and think about the problem on a bigger scale. Now, let me show you what blew me away. I've been doing, like I said, this for 7 years straight, 12 years, but 7 years of presentations. And what freaked me out is I saw somebody, Arno Haverfeld, incredible guy from services in Microsoft Corporation, and the guy showed me a framework, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, okay? I thought, wow, this really makes it concise and nice. Let me show this to you. I hope you like it as much as I did, because for me, whether it was revolutionary or not, we always look for revolutionary, right? But whether it was revolutionary or not, it helped me clarify my thoughts in such a simple way that that's why I loved it. Here goes. You have 4 types of scenarios. Now, you're going to end up with 6, 5, 3. I hope not more than 4, but let me explain these. I'm going to skip for a second the first one, the orange one. Here's your own. I'm going to skip it. 1 second, okay? Be patient with me. Let's go into the yellow one. That's what everybody here I expect to have, which is IT defined a set of 5, 10 devices, right? And you went and bought one of those, or IT bought it for you, and they gave it to you. This is usually the scenario. It's called here is your own. In other words, I buy it, and here it is. Okay? What is, that's choose your own. You choose from a list. Apologize. Here's your own? Here's your own is a very small, think very small subset of users that need very tough compliance. Doctors in a medical examination room. They cannot bring any device they want. You're going to give them a very specific device. It's for 2 things, and that's it. Is that fair? Another example. A stock market trader of high-volume forex, foreign exchange. You're going to give him a blade and a data center and 16 monitors. Okay? I know that was a bad joke, but maybe 2 monitors. But you see what I'm saying? So there's a very small subset of people that you don't ask them anything. Because you accepted this job, honey, you cannot bring whatever you want, honey. And I'm not going to ask you, honey. And if you don't like it, go work in another job, honey. And the sarcasm is there because they're getting paid for that, tons of money, or whatever. So there's also, this is like a policeman saying, oh no, I don't want to carry a gun. And if somebody shoots, I'm going to run the other way. You took the job. I get it. There's not much pay, but you took the job. What do you want from me? There's risks and there's responsibilities. That's when it kills me when I was talking to the head guy of an insurance company, and he said, I want an iPad. And I said, well, I'm sorry. The type of information that you manage on every single email is not compliant with Basel and or with Sarbanes-Oakley, so you cannot have that. You need a highly encrypted device. And if there's no tablet for that yet, then be patient. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going. What about bring your own? When bring your own is exactly what you expect. Bring your own device, BYOD. Okay? And this is bring whatever you want. I'm going to give you a certain set of services. The last one is interesting. Nobody wants to talk about this one. This one is a vendor in your office. You're just going to give him Wi-Fi. You don't support his hardware. You don't support his software. You don't support his communication. You just give him Wi-Fi so he can do his job. So on your own is I truly don't care about you. I just give you one basic service and that's it. That's all you get. Okay? This is a predefined set of devices with strict policies. The next one is a wide list devices and loose policies. The next one is freedom on devices, loose policies, and the last one is nothing, right? I don't care about anything you bring or your policies. The more you control this, the more you lose freedom. You cannot do what we've done for the last 30 years, which is here's your own and that's it and shut up, user. That's why we're in such a mess. Because we keep giving everybody one device or a set of 5, and he says, but I want something else. I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to you. Okay? So, important. You cannot pull everything toward the control, but you cannot go all the way to the other side of freedom either. So, am I recommending that you use one of these 4? No. The most successful implementations that I've seen of this model have 2 or 3 profiles, and that's it. Okay? So 2 or 3 of these, and that's it. That's all they have. This is just so that we can imagine them better. The blue one, right, is going to be enablement. So on your own is I just give you Wi-Fi. Bring your own could be a project manager that works for your company but works in other environments. And you may say, bring whatever PC you want. All your services are going to be public. I'll explain that in a second deeper. The next one, an account manager. You say, no, you know what? You choose your own device from this set of 7 devices, 10 devices, and you run a corporate environment. And the last one, like I said, is a blade or a medical device or manufacturing device, something, a very, very small percentage of population lives here. This is very obvious. Everything that you can purchase is on your own. Very subset list is on choose your own. Let's go technical for a second so you don't think I'm not going to go technical at all. There's, on the device policy side, you have to understand that you're choosing between your management and access policies. So if you look at the blue part there, public, right, would be for almost anyone, for choose your own, for here's your own, and bring your own. Not for here is your own. And so on. You can understand, this is a simple chart. But now let's go a little more deeper. Let's talk about the support stack. I don't care if you have a consumer operating system on the blue one, on no corporate environment. But I care that you have an enterprise version of the operating system on choose your own and on here's your own. In other words, on yellow and orange. Okay? If you notice, I'm also asking you here that you have highly encrypted starting from choose your own. And I also ask that you have LOB, line of business applications, while if I go towards the green and the blue, I'm going to either proxy them or make them public on the internet, or not make them available at all. Now, if I go into the Office version, you could talk about Office 365 on no corporate. This is not a hard table. You don't have to say, we recommended Office 365 only for vendors and content. Come on. I'm giving you an idea here, right? But I'm trying to tell you that in Chile, as an example, one of the mining companies, for the mines, are using Office 365. Why not an installed application in the mine? Because if you lose the PC, you didn't lose anything. Everything is back. You see my point? PC is the last thing that's going to go out, right? If something fails, what do you think? They're going to first take out the PC and then the people? So it's interesting, the philosophy, once you see the implementations in real life. The other thing that's very interesting is, if you look here, I'm talking about Skype and public collaboration tools on proxied and no corp, but I'm talking about collaboration, voice over IP, and digital right management on, here's your own, and then tighter on corporate and strict access. Now, when I'm talking about help desk, the stock traders, I'm going to give them a 7x24 as soon, whenever you're operating, I'm going to give you all the attention that you want on that help desk. But if you look at the side of the proxied, right, so the green column there, what do you get there? You get a best effort. Look how interesting it is once you start putting an SLA, and everybody understands here in IT what an SLA is, on the different type of users. So let's keep going a little bit. If I talk about the management and security stack, you're talking about public internet on one side versus VLAN, domain, and enterprise joined, as well as multiple security, certificate, drive encryption, audit and trace log. I may even do key logging on the here's your own, but I may relax as I start going down. If you notice also, I'm doing, and this one I love, because it's very, very easy to understand. For the no corporate access, I'm going to do no health remediation or assessment. For proxied, I'm going to do quarantine access. So I'm going to tell you, you know what, you're not compliant, but I'm not going to fix you. And by the third time, I'm not going to let you in. On the yellow one, again, just to make it simpler to understand instead of saying the titles. On the yellow one, I'm going to enforce policy. So I'm going to quarantine and remediate you. On the strict policies, if you're out of template, you don't come in. You see there, it's the strictest. Is I'm not going to remediate you. If you're out of policy, you don't even come in. Because I may need to reformat your whole environment. Now, let's talk about connectivity. Obviously, on the yellow and orange, it's always connected with certificates, with IPsec, with public keys, with audit. And when I go down, I relax all the way to nothing. Okay? Now, I had a customer that asked me the other day, would you do certificates all the way? Hell yeah. But not only. You see, my point is not only. I would do audit and trace logging for the corporate strict, while I wouldn't do anything like that on corporate. And last but not least, I don't know if this is the last one, I think one or two more. On the side of the desktop, you're looking, I will accept consumer desktops, but I will not accept the consumer SKU on a corporate environment or a strict environment. And also, on the VDI and hosted space, I can just do it across the board. But now, relax. Let me say something that you may hate me for, but I'll tell you something. A hosted PC is still a PC. So if you do a terrible job at managing a PC, and you think you're going to save yourself by going hosted, this is like me. I'm going to be a better person because I'm in Vegas. If I'm a bad person at home, honey, don't bring me to Vegas. Well, why do you think that's different from VDI? I'm dead serious. You know how many people I've heard that say, if you go VDI, it's going to be better? It's still your same mess. But now instead of physical, it's centrally located. And now I have to worry about the SAN and the login storms and the connectivity and, like I said, the security storms. I mean, I have a lot more problems. Think about it this way. I was just talking to a customer. They had 10,000 PCs, okay? Think about 10,000 spindles. Everybody here knows what a spindle is, right? 10,000 spindles. I grab them and I put them on a single SAN. Is that the most brilliant idea I can do? Hell yeah, if I know how to do performance and high availability on a SAN. How many SANs are built for performance? Don't raise your hands. Everybody's built for high availability. You see my point? How many SANs have you seen with 8 connections redundant, so 16 connections, so that I have performance? There you go, 1. Look how many more you have. That's a brilliant man back there. And if you were lying, shame on you in Vegas. Good man. I love you. If you weren't lying, then this is Vegas. Lie. Okay. Like I said, I had one more. What about social media? Now, don't freak out. Don't say, what is this about? I was talking to a company in Europe, and they said something beautiful. We have too many unions, and one of them said, you cannot open Wi-Fi and/or Facebook until you negotiate with us. You may find that absurd or not. It's a reality that, some people are living this. So you have to understand that social is also part of the consumerization conversation, whether you want it to be or not. The Facebook and the wiki and the blogs and Twitter. And I'll tell you why. Because people are losing employees, even though this may be ludicrous, ridiculous to some of us. But the guys who are graduating right now from college communicate more on Twitter, on Facebook, than on their phone. They text more than they call, okay? So if you say you can't use Facebook, it's like the same thing as if I would tell you right now you can't talk to your wife or significant other, or husband or whatever. You can't talk to them. You're like, what? I don't want to work here. And that's exactly what they're saying. Okay? So this is not a small thing. So again, corporate email all the way to consumer email, public sites all the way. Why am I showing you this? You're going to think I'm dumb. Wait, please wait for the slide that I have at the end. I'm going to show you something that I hope freaks you out a little bit. Okay? There's a point to showing you this in this progression. So where to start? The first thing is you need to do workforce segmentation. You need to divide and conquer. You need to say, I have 3 types of users. Now, if you say 5, that's it, we're lost. I used to say 7. It doesn't work. You need 3 types of users, 4 types of users, maximum. It's too complicated to manage more than that. Now, the next thing you did is a service portfolio that you can say the who's going to access what. And then you obviously need an assessment of impact. And I'll tell you about why in a second. I'll just ask one of you a simple question. Sir, if you allow me. Would you like me to mess with your taxes? No. Was that a light no, or was that a real serious no? Well, get the hell away from me. Don't answer. I know. Your eyesight said everything. Now, if I give you a device and you got to change the way you pay taxes, would you be happy with me as your employer? Thank you. In any country, the answer is no. Is that fair? You see the point? So what, you're not going to assess the impact? I know everybody says, well, if you assess the impact, it's okay because I can compensate and whatever. I'm not talking whether if you do your homework, you pass the exam. I asked you what happened if you don't do the homework. You see my point? So you have to assess the impact. It's not an IT problem. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This BYOD strategy is not an IT problem. So evaluate your current capabilities, build a roadmap, execute, it's all beautiful. This is what I'm talking about. Now, this slide is beautiful for one reason, because if you thought of data segmentation and another one of you thought of access segmentation and another one thought of user segmentation and another one thought of application segmentation, I meant all of them. Is that fair? That's the point. You have to say who's highly critical, I'm going to secure the hell out of them, and who I don't care about, and then relax. If you don't use workforce segmentation, it's hard as hell to do consumerization. Is that fair? When I say is that fair, I expect it like this or like this or like this. Okay? Access strategy. You've seen this slide 1,000 times. I'm just going to show it to you with a different view. Some people I'm not going to let in without IPv6. Other people I'm going to let in with a VPN, simple SSL, or certificates. And other people I'm just going to let in through public access. Okay? Because look, yes, to some parts of your population, of your workforce, you can offer just public services. That's perfectly fine. Okay, with that said, let's peel the onion a little bit. This is not meant to be exact, okay? In a highly technical conference like this hurts the hell out of me, but it's not meant to be exact. If I peel the onion a little bit, it would look something like this, right? I have my consumer devices, my enterprise devices accessing my services, and obviously, this is the point. Some of the services are going to be focused on the here's your own, others on the choose your own, etc. You see my point. So not everything is for every population. Okay? This is a part I love to go deep in. Stay with me. It's not going to be more than 5 minutes. Let's look at the first one, policy and legal. There is an important aspect of legality. I was talking to somebody from England, and I said, do you know that the laws in your country, in the UK, do not permit, well, actually they say this. If you own the device, you own everything that's in it. And he came to me and he said, you're right, but if you modify the employee contract, you can get around it. I said, exactly. If you assess the impact and take the right provisions, then you can do BYOD in the UK. There were too many acronyms in that one, weren't they? You can give people money so they buy their own cheat in England. That's better, wasn't it? That was in Spanish. You just got it. Your Spanish is incredibly good. It happens after you've been in Vegas for more than 2 days. What happens with the vendors? Are you going to have contractual changes because you're choosing this strategy? More interestingly, are you going to have to change employee benefits? I talked about this once. I'm going to talk about this another 3 more times. You're going to change your taxation structure, the company and the employee. You're going to change your purchasing structure. And you're going to change your benefits structure. Because guess what? At the first second that I give you $3,000, $1,000, whatever you give, okay? Let's say I'm super cheap, which sometimes I am. I'm going to give you $500 to buy a PC. I'm giving you money. That changes the benefit package, believe it or not. Go talk to HR before you do BYOD, or you're going to get a BYOD you know where. Because HR is going to go haywire on you. I'm not kidding you, because you just changed the contractual employment agreement with your people. It's crazy. The next one, I'm getting too excited. I'm going to stop it. Infrastructure changes, security policy changes, support process changes, application changes. Let me go back. Support changes. You're going to need 2 help desks instead of 1. In other words, 1 flavor does not fit all. It's not McDonald's anymore, okay? You're going to need 3 types of help desk, and 1 population is going to go to 1. And other 2 help desks are going to go to a different one. And that's fine. Last but not least, application changes, data availability, financial impact. Let me go into application changes. This also means that some of your applications are going to have to be rewritten on internet protocols. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a guy in Ecuador, okay? This was the CIO of one of the cities. And in Ecuador, the way you measure the land so you pay taxes is done by third-party contractors. They go out to your parcel or your land or whatever, and they measure your land, and they enter it on a website with their code, with their approved vendor, whatever, and then you get your taxes. That's the way it works. So he thought it'd be cool as hell to do the application on an iPhone. And I said to him, I'm just going to ask you a humble, simple question. I'm sorry that I'm from Microsoft, but I'm going to ask you a fair question. What are you going to do with the guys, your contractors, your independent citizens who work this service, who have RIM, who have, what is it, blueberries, strawberries? And what are you going to do with them? Are they not worthy of your love? And he was like, well, I'm the government. I should love everybody. I'm like, yes, you should, shouldn't you? I'm like, and what about the schmo that bought a Windows Phone? He got confused. You're not going to love him either? They're like, well, no, we're not going to love him. I'm like, okay, at least think about this. You cannot program on anything that's not pure HTML. I was like, yes, I guess. But I wanted to make it pretty. I'm like, well, write beautiful HTML. What do I care? But understand, sometimes your application strategy has to be massively rewritten because you're choosing BYOD. So this, you thinking that it's only a device strategy, is not going to work. And I apologize for being so forceful. But I'm trying to make a change here in mentality, not in technology. Let's keep going. Yes, I love optimization. 7 years of success with this, over 15,000 IT environments. And I'm going to show you something that I hope is a good resource for you. If you want to use it, fine. If you don't want to use it, don't worry about it. It doesn't hurt you. It's like this. We not only build a maturity model that assesses you in 4 stages, we also build business conversations, one of them being flexible work style. And how does this work? You start with the business needs that you want to solve, and I'll show you the ones that we've pre-cooked or pre-built. From there, you go to a defined, desired level of operation, right? You say, I want to be good, better, best. I've never met anybody that said, I want to be done, okay? So it's good, better, best. You say, I want to be good, I want to be better, or I want to be the best. Best is always too much investment, so almost everybody says better. Exactly, that's normal. So I don't know why the hell we build good and best, but it's so you feel good when you use better, okay? And Then you assess your current capabilities with the maturity model, and then what you do is you do a gap analysis. What's the beauty of this? You do a comprehensive gap analysis. What do I mean by that? This is where I start, and this is where I end. 90% of you, if not 100, always start a project with saying, this is where I want to go, right? Raise your hand, the guys who say, this is where we're at first. Thank you. I have a couple of hands. That's the point. The mistake is you have to say first where you're at. Because if your starting point is more to here or more to here, it changes the project dramatically, doesn't it? So this is where I start and this is where I end. And last but not least, you do a roadmap and then an architecture. How many of you start with an architecture? Don't raise your hands. Lie to me. You get it? You cannot start with an architecture. You start with a business need. How does this look? Let me show you. One type of business need is anywhere connection. Don't raise your hand if you don't mean it. How many of you, when you think of flexible work style or consumerization, would need access anywhere? A couple. Not everybody. That's perfect. How many of you would need a personalized experience or the ability to bring your own device because you think it's cool or you want flexibility? A couple less. How many of you because you want an intelligent infrastructure, in other words, a better managed infrastructure? You see my point? So not everybody says yes to all of them. You have to select which one is good for you or build your own. And then what you do is you do this. By the way, everything I'm showing you, you can get from here, Microsoft.com/optimization. Okay? And you can get all this framework that I'm going to show you right there. So basically, if you see here, no, it doesn't. It's a little bit below here. Okay, anyway, so here goes. Access Anywhere has this needs which present this challenges. You see the beauty of this framework? You're saying, because I want this, I want to get this, I'm going to be presented with this challenges. Same thing for personal experience. You see an example, anywhere connection, work while on the road, work on your own device, or work from your phone, and the challenges that presents. These conversations have been built at the CIO, TDM is technical decision maker, and IT pro level. So you can go in and see all the development of this type of business drivers into accountable roles on need, challenges, and impacts. It's really detailed. In other words, this has written all the project definitions so that you go sell this correctly. And I'm not saying copy this and that's going to give you the right project. I'm saying look at it so that you base your logic on this type of progression. That's what I'm saying is the right approach. Because you started from a business need, not from give me money because I want to buy a tool, right? And I'm not being sarcastic. I was a CIO for 9 years. And I always came out and said, I'm going to buy this because I want to have that capability. It doesn't work like that. It's how do you build the capability, and then what do I need to buy that supports that? So with that said, you have good, better, best. What are the business capabilities and what are the solution components that I need on each one so that I can achieve this? So you see the level of detail that we've gone in? I hope you realize that even for me not saying that this was technical, I'm giving you a ton of resources to go look at and build a very cohesive strategy that when you go to any level of the organization, it's readable. And it's not I need IPv6 because it provides SLAT. And people are like, he said what? Anyways, no, I did get into a very feisty conversation the other day about the value of a network address translation in IPv6 with somebody else, and it was pointless because everybody around us went to sleep. Point proven. Next, this is what it should look like. Okay? If you look, this is the slide for client services, client management virtualization. If you want this slide, this is an official slide, and you just copy it from here, right? And basically what you're doing is you're saying on image management or image maintenance, are you basic, standardized, rationalized, or dynamic? And you say, well, no, I have an image library and processes, and I would like to have an image management, an image library layered with zero-touch deployment. So this is where you start, and this is where you want to get. So this is literally my roadmap, and I convert this into a set of projects, some of them which are going to have a ROI or a TCO because they save me money, and some of them which have either an efficiency or an increase in agility aspect. Let me translate this to Spanish because I'm sure you guys did not get the second aspect. Some things cost money. They don't save you anything. But if you don't want them, don't pay for them. But if you want them, guess what? You got to pay. So this, if you don't give me a ROI, you can't get it, doesn't work, okay? What's the ROI of the tires of your car? Nothing. They just cost money. Well, then take them off. See how far you get. Okay? You guys are a sick crowd. That was a bad joke. So, with that said, we've gone all the way to build for the... I got excited with that last joke. I know. For the things that I just showed you, the business benefits, right? And the different levels, good, better, best, we build architectures. So you can go in and you can read them. You can download this from the same website I just gave you, okay? And this is for phase 2. So this is for better. There's a set of conceptual, so this is all the services. There is also a logical architecture. Yes, this is Microsoft heavy. What's the name of the conference? You get pissed off at me for showing you everything just Microsoft slide? I'm sorry, okay? Now get it. I get it too that you don't have this. This is nirvana for us, not for you, okay? So you change whatever you need here from your components. Is that fine? Don't get mad at anybody. We're giving you an architecture. Smile. It's for free. You didn't pay anybody to build you this. And then last but not least, we even give you a physical architecture. Did you like my demo? That's my demo right there. Thank you. Why is this cool? Because you get a good idea and you can base it off of this. I think this is 30 to 40% of what you should be looking at, okay? But it's 30, 40% in the right line, so I'm pretty happy. Next, we're almost done. By the way, I don't even know what time it is, but then again, I already said that I'm Latin, right? We have no sense of time. It's all mañana, just in case you were wondering. So if I run over, it's your fault, okay? You didn't tell me anything. This is a whole bunch of resources, okay? There's a whole bunch of cool stuff here. There's services that we can help you with, solution accelerators, calculators. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's all here, okay? Enjoy. It's all good. If the link doesn't work, email me. I apologize. I hope it works. And last but not least, these are issues that I already talked about. I'm not going to go over them. They're just for you. They're for the presentation. They're for completeness. We talked about all these things. It's things you should not let go, right? And with that, I'm very proud to say this. Now, I was giving this talk on an internal conference of Microsoft, which is huge. It's a huge conference we have every year. And we bring all our technical people, and it's a 15,000 people conference divided in 2 sets, so 7,500. It's huge. And I was giving this talk, and I was very happy. I was very proud, and everything was good. And at the end, this guy, really nice guy, came up to me, and he said, I'd like to put an example at the end of our presentation. And I said, man, it'd be my pleasure. I love that, right? I mean, love to have a good example. I said, well, what do you do? And he said, oh, I'm responsible for all desktops in Microsoft. Holy shit. Well, yeah, okay. When do we talk? Can I buy you lunch right now? You know? Yeah, I was like, yeah, of course. So who is this guy? Let me explain. This guy only has 72,000 Windows 7 clients. I'm not trying to boast Microsoft to you. I'm trying to boast a real person who manages this mess, okay? I'm sorry. It was cool as hell. I had a customer example, but this was cool as hell. Because this guy has a mess. Look at this. 103, I don't know how the hell he has 72,000 Windows 7s and then 103,000 Office 10, whatever. He has 57,000 phones, right, with ActiveSync, 625 SharePoint sites, 51% users migrated, whatever, Windows domains, SAP ERP. You're getting a copy of this. If you misuse this, I'll delete this from the web. You're not getting it. Not worthy. Anyways, 107 countries, 198,000 end users, more than 1,000 line of business apps, 8 production data centers. I mean, it's super impressive. Everything is on Hyper-V, by the way, in case you didn't think about it. Yes, in production. God forbid. MSN, you know MSN? It's running on Hyper-V, okay? You got to trust that at some point in your career. Something is wrong with you people, I'm serious. Yes, I dared to say that, because you know what? I'm not a VP. You can burn me. It's okay. Last but not least, world largest website, 1.7 billion hits a day. Anyways, you want to see how they manage desktops? Yes. Right? A little more excitement than that would have been good. MSIT standards. You know what that means? It means you bought from the list of 10 PCs that they told you this is the choose your. Now you got it? You remember I told you I was going to show you a super cool chart? This is it. This is real life. This is today. This is how me and all my Microsoft whatever fellows are being managed today. If you're an MSIT standard, you get help desk hardware support, help desk software support, line of business application support, and line of business applications installed. You get patching, you get driver support on MSIT images, BitLocker, which is encryption for the hard drive. I get direct access, which is IPv6 access, right? No certificates, no SSL. VPN with smart card, Wi-Fi exchange, corporate access to application, print, share, etc. Link and unified communications. Cool? What happens if I buy a PC that is a PC recommended on the list, but that doesn't have TPM? You all know what TPM is? The chip that allows me to do BitLocker, encryption on the hard drive. If you don't have TPM, you get one best effort on hardware, best effort. If you buy a PC, with TPM but not on the list. If you buy a PC not on the list and without TPM, best effort, and you get a couple of no's. You're already getting kicked out of the island very easily. Okay? Now you're getting why this is so powerful? Let's keep on going. What happens if we have a lot of developers, and those guys are off the reservation, and they're off their rockers, and you want them to be that way, right? Because they're pretty smart. So what do you want? You tell them, look, man, you want to buy your own PC, or build it, or do whatever you want? That's fine. But remember, I'm not going to support you. It's a big maybe on the hardware support. It's a whole bunch of no's, and it's a limited corporate access. And if you bring an MS phone, you get also some no's and yes. And if you bring your own iPad, guess what? You get email. No, wait, hold on. This is actually cool. I'm proud of this one. You get email, you get web, and you get some corporate access to some sites, and that's it. But guess what? The guys who have an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone, that's all they wanted anyways. This is the part where we didn't get it. We didn't get it. We thought that if they didn't get everything, it was a bad thing. They don't want everything. They want email, calendar, a couple of file shares, and maybe some websites, or access to the internet, and that's it. Excuse me? VDI could be part of some of the websites. Now, careful with VDI, because remember, I love a guy, Jim Wilt, he's an excellent architect, he speaks in a lot of disengagements too. He always accesses his Citrix environment through his iPad, and I'll tell you something, it's laughable. I make fun of him all the time. I'm like, man, with your fat fingers, you can't even work that mouse on that thing. It just looks wrong. They're like, I know, it's taking me 10 minutes, freaking me out. And he travels with this all day. So look, if the experience is bad, the experience is bad, man. I'm sorry. So don't try to, you wouldn't try to build a house just with a hammer.
So I'm not just talking iPad stuff. I mean, there's several stuff on the right. I'm just asking, it makes sense to include.
VDI up to PCs makes all the sense. And now on tablets, there's some VDI that makes sense when fat fingers work. But trying to work a mouse and a keyboard on VDI remotely on a tablet, it's freaky. And if you haven't tried it, give it a try and then tell me you liked it, okay? Even when the network is good. And no, I didn't say anything bad. I just told you something, try it. Don't go by my opinion. If you like it, then use it. Give it to your users. Now, what did I just say? There's risk migration mitigation, right? Embrace, block, allow with policy, contain. And by the way, when you buy the company, they move pretty fast to embrace. Come on, that was a good joke, wasn't it? I like that too. So anyways, guys, by the way, those are all official, true slides. Yeah, you can say you don't like one or two, but I wasn't gonna sugarcoat the slide. Whatever they said, I left it there. I don't even know if I'm gonna get into trouble by giving it to you guys. So, be nice to me. Exactly. Don't share it back with MSIT. So, was this about your flexible work style strategy? No. I'll tell you what this is about. This is about saying yes responsibly. Did you just feel the cold bucket of water that I try to pour on top of you? Let me tell you what I just said. You try keep being Mr. No Man or no ma'am. for longer. See how far you get. You're going to get fired. I'm not kidding. You keep telling no to all these people and everything they ask you, and they're going to find somebody that says yes. Am I getting this wrong? How about we find ways to say yes responsibly? That's what this session was about. It was about how to find ways with the technology that we have. Yes, I can go to the bits and bytes too. Yes, I know how to work PowerShell. That's not the point. There has to be a point where we say yes and we present a framework that's not technical, that can be understood by all the people who pay our salaries. Agreed? That's the point. So, long story short, say yes responsibly. I don't even know if the little guy with his video is on the website anymore, but he was pretty cool. And that's the website for customization. Complete your eval. Do me a favor. You like the session, love it. You don't like the session, leave it, but do me a favor. Put in your comments where you want this to go. Example. Yes, I deeply enjoyed it. I would like to continue one more, because if not, I swear to God, I'm going to kill this. I've been doing this for 7 years. I'm getting old. If you liked it, tell me where you want it to go. You see my point? Give me some feedback. Tell me, yes, and I would have liked more examples on this. Or yes, tell me where you want this to go next time. It would be my pleasure to build that and do the research and go in there. But don't just go, I didn't like it. Tell me why you didn't like it. And if you liked it, tell me how to go to the next level. I truly hope, humbly, and without any more dumb jokes, I truly hope this was useful for you, more than anything else, more than entertaining, more than anything. I hope this was useful. I hope you steal everything out of that slide deck and create it and use it on your own. I hope that you use it to your benefit. And if you're super kind and nice and want to share back, my alias is eduardoK@microsoft.com. Shoot me an email. Tell me how you used it. I promise I'll keep your confidentiality. Thank you very much for coming. I'll be right here for questions.